Parenting is hard. There's no question about that. But what if I told you that it's not the kids that's making it so difficult? It's the busy schedules that we keep. Today, Abbie and I, we want to talk to you about how to navigate the stressors and the challenges of married life so that we not only survive the parenting of our youth and our young children, but we thrive through it. Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded in Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hewkin.
Yeah, I think a good perspective is a lot of times you may feel, oh, my kids are manipulating
Mm.
me by, needing me to rock them extra, or they're just trying to go to bed late by,
Love me, Mom.
yeah,
Love me.
yeah, just all of the different things that they may need, whether you feel like they're manipulating you to go to bed later or to get you to sit down or to get you not pay attention to their sibling, whatever it may be. I know that the thought of that, although overwhelming in the moment, that those come from Satan.
Yeah.
And whenever you are feeling like, your kids' noise and voice is noise and frustrating to hear and overstimulating, interrupting, although that there is a line. They do
There's
have
some
to.
truth in that.
Yes.
Sure.
But, whenever you're just constantly like, "Oh, my kids, they're manipulating me. Their voices and their noise is just overstimulating me." All of that is just an attack for us to view our kids as a nuisance.
Mm.
And I really do feel like that. And I think that whenever you know that, whenever somebody is spoken that so that you're aware of that kind of an attack, then it's easier to be like, "Oh no, hold on a minute." And you can choose to find the joy
Yeah.
in the noise and the mess and the laughter and the interruption moments that are calling you to sit down and be present with them for a moment.
Yeah. I was smiling because I thought of that as a phrase, the joy of the interruptions.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is parenting young kids, right? There's no question about it. But I can't think of a specific instance, but I've heard you say this before. It's like, Ryan, you're not mad at them. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Like I might not give you that in that moment because clearly I'm
Who
upset about
would?
something,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever. But maybe sometimes I'm just upset because they've been mean to one another or they're particularly frustrating to you or interrupting to you or
Mhm.
were not behaving for you once I got home from work or whatever that might be. And it's like, I'm not actually mad at them. Sometimes you're noticing that in me that I'm just frustrated at a situation of life, someone who's maybe treated us poorly or a family dynamic that's not going the way that I thought it would or a work dynamic that's not going the way I thought it would. And then here's my kiddos and they just want dad to be dad and dad's still stuck in angry man mode over here about something that really doesn't matter in life. And they have a combat or, a fight with each other. And now I'm yelling at both the kids. And it's like, oh, wait a second. Like I'm not mad at them. And so I think all the times that if we self reflect and we think about how when our kiddos come into that situation, we're not upset, with them. There's been times, we maybe I lash out at the kids or, whatever. I think it's really important for us to go back and apologize and make that right and let them see that. As the father in our house, I really actually do try to be the lead apologizer, be the one that
Mhm.
apologizes the most, because if I'm going to ask of them, I'm going to make sure that I do it too. But at the end of the day, I think that's big, that our kids aren't actually what we're upset with. Sometimes it's just life is stressful and marriage can be stressful. And the kids are a piece of that and they're a blessing from God for it. Not always able and easy to walk that out, but I think it's worth talking about today.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think that two things that sometimes whenever you're feeling like you're lashing out at the ones that you love the most,
Mm,
you have to force yourself to sit down and be like, "Okay, what am I actually mad about?" And that's something that, we do all the time is like, "Okay, wait a minute. Why am I actually feeling like
right.
this?" And sometimes it's buried so deep, you don't realize that, did you in.
Sure.
And so it's just good to bring it to the light and work through that so that that no longer is. But I think the same goes in marriages.
Yeah.
Like if you are arguing or bickering or having a disagreement in front of your kids, that they also see the apology,
Sure.
or the makeup, because then they'll think, oh, marriage is just you argue and then all of a sudden you just pretend like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I think that it's healthy for them to see that resolution as well. Although Ryan and I will talk passionately about something like in agreement. Like we're like, yeah, like isn't that crazy?
Right.
And get, whatever that may be. And one of our girls told my mom, I believe is who she's like, my parents fight all the time. And I was like, "What? No, we don't." And she's like, "Just today, you guys were like raising your voices at each other." I was like, "No, we were
Oh,
agreeing. Like we were
that's not an argument.
yeah,
That
we
wasn't
were
a fight.
passionate about that." And so just having those conversations with your kids, I'm like, "I am so glad you just said that because there's these times that you thought dad and I were arguing and we were really just passionately agreeing on a topic."
Okay, this is
Like,
dark, but, like, you sent me that thing one time, it was, like, this husband and wife, spouse, they were talking about how they have, like, cartel level loyalty to one another. It's like, sometimes it's just that, like,
yeah.
I'm heated because you're heated, so
Yeah,
I'm heated with you, and
I'm
so
mad with
I'm
you.
sharing that with you, and I think that's okay. I think you're my ride or die, right? Like,
Yep.
if you're mad, I'm mad, right?
Yes.
Like, I could do that. But, okay, so back to the concept at hand, I really think, you know, that being a piece of it, but actively working on your marriage, on our marriage
Mhm.
for the sake of our family, for the sake of our children's future, right? It's crucial. A strong family unit is not easily divided, is not easily susceptible to the schemes of the enemy.
Mhm.
God did not make a mistake when he brought your family together, when he made you a husband and a wife, when he gave you and blessed you with children. And we have to, in the hardest of moments, we have to focus on that God did this. Like he doesn't make mistakes and he's got a purpose for it and he's got a plan for it. This moment that's very difficult right now, we need to navigate through it, but then we need to work and take a moment right now and just say like how could we better serve each other in this marriage for our children's future as well. Not only ours, because there's a day, and we talk about this all the time. And thankfully, we had a pastor, the guy that actually, performed the ceremony for our wedding. He told us that one time was like, there's a day coming when your children are going to leave you, right?
Mhm.
And you're left behind this man and this woman. And there's so many people that we grow into
Yeah.
in a marriage, right? Like if you and I were the same person that we were when we got married 11 years ago. Hey, we just had our anniversary. We
Yes.
can officially say 11 years ago now. Like that would not be a good thing,
Right.
right? But you obviously like that's a point of contention with some people. It's like, well, you're not who you were when I married you. Well, like
Right.
neither are
Thank
you.
goodness.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that's a big difference and we talk about this all the time like there's two births that happen every time a woman brings a child into this earth. There's the birth of the child and the birth of the woman she now is, having been through that experience. And so that's a dynamic that we have to navigate. And just there's so many different things and so many different ways that we can be working on our marriage. And I think it's crucial. And it's the only way that we're not just going to survive this phase of parenthood. Like we want to thrive through this. We want our marriage to be stronger, our relationship to be better while we have kids so that when they are gone, when they grow up, create and start their own families, we have this strong still family dynamic that we're not only hopeful for, but we are prayerful for too.
Right. And I think that it's easy because, you lose intentional time together, right?
Right.
I don't even honestly, truly do not remember um what it was like without kids. Like sometimes whenever I think it kind of breaks my
Boring.
brain. Like, wait, we were able to just like go and do whatever we wanted. In fact, our kids found our old iPhones. My dad keeps
Mm,
everything and had them. And we powered them on. And I was like going through our old, not ours, but like any messages in there. And there was ones that are like, yeah, no, I'm free tonight. You want to go hang out? You want to do
right.
this and that? And I'm like, what? You had time to just do that if you wanted to on a
That's not an
Wednesday?
option. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just different things like that. I think that that's a common struggle that parents face in that trying to make sure that once your kids grow up and leave, that you know who each other are,
Sure.
is that intentional time together, but also drifting apart due to busyness and due to roles in the family. And I think that making sure that you and your spouse are just like woven and connected in that, so that you're not just strangers living under the same roof.
Right.
Oh, mom handles the
Separate
kids and
lives,
does this,
separate
and
identities. Yeah.
right, right. And I think that that's important. Just find those small times, like we've talked about so many times, that we do evening tea nights after the kids go to bed.
Sure.
And
I think, and I mean, there's seasons where we get to go on dates,
yeah,
and some people might sit there and I kind of hate it. Like, again, you get on the wrong side of social media and everybody's a marriage and a expert and all this stuff. And obviously that's not the place that we're coming from. The idea here though, is that sometimes isn't possible. Like, we don't have the structure right now in life where we can say, yeah, let's do that. Right. And
yeah,
somebody who's an authority on the topic might say, no, wrong. You make a date night once a week, no question. And I'll hear that. I'll listen to that. I think that's a decent position to take. I also think there's realities of life where that's not possible
yeah,
or 100% necessary. I think if you're making intentional time
yeah.
and you're trying to reconnect, that's one of the best things we do, is just evening time after the kids have gone to bed. Let's have a glass of tea together. Let's sit
Right.
here and chat and read this book and whatever, right?
Yeah,
So
because there's been times that we've talked about, oh, we could go on a date night this time or that time, and so could come and get the kids, and then and I'm like, you know what? That sounds
I'd rather
way,
just sit at home.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds way too stressful and too much to do. Let's just find a
Let's try
different
to wear
time.
the kids out so
Yeah.
that they're in bed by 8:30
Yeah.
when they're supposed to be in bed, and 8:30 doesn't become 10:30, which happens a lot of times.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. But like, let's make sure that they're not falling asleep at 5 o'clock because
Hmm.
they've, but let's wear them out. Let's get them to sleep, and then let's just have an at-home date night.
Yeah.
We do love those.
And another thing that sometimes creates tension in a marriage is just different parenting styles.
Sure.
And if a parent happened to want to get their kids dirt bikes that they've never asked for. If you are joining us for the first time since the expo, we are so glad that you are here. It was an amazing weekend. We got so much amazing feedback. Some were asking us to do it twice a year. Some were asking when the next one was. It was just all around amazing. Now, if you were there and you missed a speaker that you wanted to hear, or you just want to hear the replay, just go down in our description and you can click the link for our Off of Social Media community group where the replays will be. The other parent would probably logically say that she disagreed with that idea, because, it's not just that, why do we need to give our kids absolutely everything under the sun that they've never asked for? But it also maybe, that sounds like it could be hospital bill and
And a great lesson
uh-huh.
because of it.
Yeah. So there's just an example, just different things.
Some parents might operate more from a place of fear,
Oh.
and
Mhm.
concern, as opposed to, joy and, you know, bewilderment that your children would have if you gave them a dirt bike. I don't know. I'm just saying. No, I'm
Yeah.
just,
Well, some people wear their fuddy dud badge proudly.
yeah, right.
So, just different parenting styles.
Somebody's got to be the fun parent.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
So, just different parenting styles could be a challenge in a marriage, as well. And so, making sure that you work through those healthily and not passive
Don't be
aggressively,
passive aggressive about it by any
yeah,
means. Yeah.
would be good. And so, I think that,
Okay, but seriously, in all seriousness, how do you do that? Like, somebody listening to this, they want their kids to have a dirt bike or pick an object, a thing,
that
and the
they've
other
never
one
asked
doesn't.
for, that they've never asked
They
for.
did ask for it once. You want to bless your children with a new gift, a new thing. Maybe they didn't ask for
Mhm.
it. Sometimes that's the most exciting part. Maybe your child's love language is gifts. Ours isn't.
Maybe. Yep. So, I think that, regardless, parenting as a team,
Yeah.
the dad always just saying
Maybe
mom's
maybe
right.
have that discussion privately before bringing it up to the kids.
Yeah.
That's not what happened in
No.
our situation.
Yeah.
The kids actually weren't in the equation at all.
No.
It was
They
just
had no
like,
idea.
yeah. And guess they'll never will. But
Nope.
seriously, I mean, it's just having that conversation, I think, and setting parameters around it. That was not our best way of ever having a discussion before when that happened, but
Mhm.
it was, I mean, we obviously got through it and everything's fine, but
Yeah.
it's like sometimes those can lead to real bad fights, just disagreements. Sometimes it's disagreements on, it's not even so much for the children, it's just purchases
Yeah.
or disagreements on health choices or again, the financial thing is
Finances,
probably the
yeah.
biggest thing that we see. And I don't know how does a couple in a most healthy and God honoring way navigate those ultimate disagreements.
Well, like through finances, you mean?
Anything. What do
I
we disagree? Pick. We disagree on this subject. How do we get through it?
Yeah, I think that identifying each person, so just use finances as an example of identifying the habits,
Mm,
healthy or not,
sure.
right? So like in finances, spender, saver, splurger,
Yeah.
fear-based saver.
Scarcity lack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that identifying whatever that may be, um, and then just working through, okay, what is healthy? What do we want our kids to see? What do we want to model for them? Say that it's parenting styles and one feels like the kids should do chores and not get paid, and one thinks that they should do chores and get paid. Just
Sure.
different things like that of weighing, okay, well, do we want to show them that, yeah, you get paid for your good work? Or do you want to show them that sometimes work comes without pay and it's just what you have to do
It's just
to
life.
have
Sure.
nice things?
Sure.
Just different things like that. I think that understanding both people and allowing them to explain their thought process and stance on it is going to be huge and beneficial.
Yeah, I remember this thing we did at church one time. I don't remember the actual course, but I remember I wrote the thing down and it said anytime you're entering into a conversation like this, it was an acronym, it was HALT. Do you
Mm.
remember? And it was a self-assessment and HALT. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And if you're any of those things, don't have this conversation. Don't
Yeah.
have the disagreement, opposing viewpoint of parenting style discussion in that moment. Go grab a bite to eat, get a nap, whatever. It's to say, hey, later, can we talk about this or whatever, right? And just kind of preemptively go into that situation, not hungry, angry, lonely, or
I
tired.
think the only one of those that I probably never am is lonely.
Well, I think
Hungry and
lonely can
tired.
feel unloved, like loveless, I guess.
Yeah,
So be
yeah.
fill in that L where it's like,
You're around
I don't
people,
feel
but
like we say that sometimes, like, I don't even feel like you love me, which is, I mean, it's
it's just,
crazy.
yeah,
It's
it's
just
just
us
a
being,
silly.
it's like when the kids do it
Mhm,
to you and they say, Mom, love me, like
mhm.
means rock me, hold me, squeeze me, give
All the
me
kisses in the world,
attention, give me
yeah.
kisses, hugs, all this stuff. It's like sometimes I'll feel that. It's like, I don't even feel like you love me. It's like, well, I've been kind of
Yes,
distracted with raising your children
yeah.
who we love together, or whatever. And it's like that could be, I think, an aspect of loneliness where you're just feeling in some aspect isolated.
Mhm.
And so taking that acronym into your discussions through your marriage, I think can be so, I mean, in any relationship, but especially the point of this conversation is in marriage. Um, HALT. Am I hungry? Right now, currently, yes.
Yes.
Am I angry? No. But if I'm hungry, angry can come very quickly, right?
Yes.
That's why hangry is a very much so a thing. Lonely. Am I feeling love? Do I feel like you've, shown me any affection in my love language lately? Like you might have been, you know, showering me with acts of service, but that's just not, that's how you feel love's not how I feel
Right.
love. And then tired. Am I tired? That's a default. We're going to be our less best version of ourselves, and our marriage is not going to be benefited by a discussion on opposing viewpoints if we're any of those four things.
Right. And I think that a good way to really come together and feel close with your spouse is to pray with them and dream with them. And so I really feel like whenever you pray together, it just, I don't even know the word, but it just creates this level of trust and vulnerability and closeness that if you're not feeling that and you're feeling like you're struggling, just coming together and doing that, but then also dreaming together. Like, when was the last time you actually let yourself
Mm,
just dream?
yeah,
Dream without rules and guidelines, and is that really going to happen or not? Am I getting my hopes up or not? Like, just dreaming.
just dream.
And when was the last time you heard your spouse's dreams?
Yeah,
And so I think just like doing that and having a fun date night of it, even, and you know grabbing some cookies and milk and just doing that would just be, that could take you so far.
right. Well, and I think, going back to the prayer point, I want to talk about that too. But, that is an immensely vulnerable position to be in. I think when a couple begins praying with each other, whether it's pre or post marriage, I think it can happen in either capacity, but it's kind of awkward. I don't know, is this person going to make fun of me and the thoughts that I have and the things I say and whatever, but that level of intimacy, but it's also the prayer, the specific prayer of asking God to align your wills with his desires, right? What God, like, we do not agree on this subject. I want to parent
Yeah.
this way. I want to have this many kids. I want to whatever, right? There's an element, I think, in marriage where we talked about it. You're becoming a new person, right? The Bible says two flesh become one. So now there's this whole dynamic that nothing there existed before, but now you're one. And so now we have to, and we can't do this on
Mhm.
our own strength and our own will. Like, I don't think this is something you can just do. I think you have to invite God into these equations, these situations, and these conversations, because if not, we're going to be left to our own personal passions and
Yeah.
pursuits, and things like that. Like, I think that's a big problem. And so then, yes, with that, then leads to a place of like, all right, let's talk about our dreams together. What do you see for your life? What do you think? What is life going to look like when the kids aren't here, or 5 years down the road? This
Right.
really neat phenomenon that happened to me just last night, um, where I know y'all have all heard of like deja vu, and the best science says like deja vu is like it's a memory synapse problem where it's like you're filing it incorrectly real quick. You filed it in the we've already done this before file inside your brain. The brain is so amazing. But I had to research a phenomenon that was happening where I felt like I was in a situation that was brand new to me. It's the first time it ever happened, but I was seeing it as if I knew it would happen.
Yeah.
I was
So
like, oh
not
yeah.
deja vu, but
But like, so the best term I can come up with is almost like this weirdly like prophetic aspect of it,
yeah.
which is like, oh my goodness, like I feel like I've known this moment was coming my whole life. And it
Yeah.
was sitting in a recliner in
Yeah.
our new living room, house almost being done building, rocking our child to sleep. And I was like, yeah, like this is my life. It was like, this has never been my life before. Like, how
Right.
cool is that? And so having those moments, I think, where you then, so I was alone in that, but I called you over and I shared it with you. And for me, it was kind of weird and vulnerable to actually share that with you because I didn't actually know how to put it into
Into
play.
words. Yeah.
Weird. 11 years into marriage, and still things can feel weird and awkward and vulnerable for me to share with you because uh, words are not my best suit, or sharing feelings not my best suit. Guys, can you relate? But I still wanted to do that with you just because I wanted to bring you into that moment. And
Yeah.
I think if we don't do those things all the time, um, I don't want to say your marriage is going to suffer, but I just don't think it could thrive as well as it could.
Right. And I mean, just strong parents build strong families. And so if you have something that works for you guys in your house, or a win or a story, we want to hear them. So make sure that you share them with us. From the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.
This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hewkin.